Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, those joining us from our online affiliates around the world, including iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. Glad you all could be with us as well. I'm excited to welcome actor and comic Preston Taylor to our program today to talk to us not only about his own journey to fulfilling his own goals and dreams, but what it was like for us to give us a snapshot of both in his new project called FarmtoTV. This is an hilarious and I think inspiring look at not only his journey, but also what he's been able to achieve. We'll talk to him about that, but also let you guys know how to stay connected with him as we are going throughout the rest of this year. Preston, hello to you and welcome to the program, man.
Hey, thank you very much, Cyrus, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm gracious for you all to have me and excited to share some of these stories with you guys.
Well, look, man, the pleasure's definitely all mine. And I have to say, when I'm venturing out of my cave this summer, heading back to Los Angeles, I look forward to being able to sit down and taping one of our TV segments with you as well. You know, FarmtoTV is a great look, I think, not only as your talent, which we're going to get into that, but also how you got to where you are. What was that journey like for you, Preston, to kind of look at where you started and where you are today?
It's been a very long and interesting journey. Definitely a lot of fun and a lot of twists and turns along the way. And I think that's really what FarmtoTV gives people. You know, even the name is kind of meant that way. It's the play on farm to table, right? Which is always the story of where your produce came from. Hey, the farmer down the street, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to be able to do the same thing with myself as when you see the opening in FarmtoTV, you see my family, you see the country, you see the cows. And so the whole hope was to let people know that, man, this was a long journey. This is real. Like, you know, I come from a town of 4,000 people where there were 8 black people growing up. So it was a very undiverse area and very small. And, you know, I didn't personally think that it was going to take so many steps to get to Los Angeles or get to entertainment. And my goodness, it's a long way. It's a very long way in between. So I tell people I'm very gracious because, you know, without that long journey, without the college, the stories, you know, some of the racism stories you get there in the show, those things are all a part of the journey, all a part of the story. And if those things don't happen, you know, there's probably no, you know, Preston Taylor, the comedian.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, Preston Taylor becoming the comedian. I mean, was comedy always the go-to for you growing up, Preston, or was that something that kind of evolved and you kind of embraced as you got older?
It was definitely the latter. It's something that evolved. I love joking and just kind of being funny and jovial. My dad is very lighthearted and fun. And so, but I grew up as a sports star. I was a junior Olympian. I was at Kansas State to play football and run track. So, you know, kind of everyone always saw me on this path to stardom as an athlete.
Gotcha.
It wasn't until at the end of my career that I really started getting into at least writing comedy. And about the time I graduated in 2008, the housing crisis hit. And, you know, not a great time to graduate college and not go pro. So, you know, I had to find a new avenue. And moving to Los Angeles really changed that. And then, you know, some dire situations here, and you finally get kind of thrust onto the stage, and the rest has been history.
Yeah. So, you know, I want to talk about progression for you because I think one of the inspiring things for me and even watching FarmtoTV, Preston, and even prepping for this segment, which is always a lot of fun for me in hosting this program, is thinking about where it all began. I found the post from you on Instagram. We're going to let our audience know how to stay connected with you. Going back to March 26, 2019, and you were talking about your comedy show, FarmtoTV, at that point. And the caption said this: "So thankful to so many people for making this day possible. A lot of time, work, and preparation has gone into this moment by so many people." I want to focus on the time, work, and preparation because I think a lot of times people look at you and say, "Oh, well, I can do that." But then they're in it 5 days and they realize, okay, it's not as easy as Preston Taylor makes it look like. Did you know that it was going to take the time, work, and preparation when you got into this?
You almost made me want to cry with that question. One, I appreciate you taking the time to read that. Two, there are so many people along the way to thank. Even the list at the end of the show, it doesn't cut it. You know, one of those people, I'll say it right now, Angelica Pace. That woman listened to me perform FarmtoTV probably 180 nights in a row before anyone else ever heard it. Like, got off of work every single night, came over to my place, sat in the backyard, and watch me get in a suit and tie and perform night after night after night after night. You know, so people, like you said, they look at it, they look up there and they see like, oh man, look how easy that is. I can do that. And it's like, no, some of my interviews you'll hear I'm a big stickler for Rodney Dangerfield. He was one of my big influences. What people don't know about Rodney is how much of a stickler he was for his timing and how specific he was about his shows. You know, if he did Carson for 7 minutes, there was a reason he only did Carson once a year for 7 minutes. Because when he walked out, everything that Carson said, every time someone stood up in the audience and quote unquote didn't give him respect, right, they would shout something out, Rodney wrote every single piece in response. And to me, that was amazing how meticulous he was. So I give my shows that same energy, that same feel. Like, my goal was to shoot this thing in 65 minutes. We finished in exactly 65 minutes, right? Because I wanted to kind of give that nod to Rodney and to those kind of comedy legends that, like, this isn't easy. You know, it looked like I ducked out of the lights for the first time on stage, but no, I've ducked out of the lights 1,000 times before doing that exact same joke over and over and over again.
Yeah. So how did you get comfortable with it? I think that's the other side of it. I think anyone in our industry, in the entertainment industry, doing anything in front of people, Preston, I think that the big thing becomes not being the next X, Y, or Z, but being the best you. How did you get to a place where that was the goal every time, just to be the best you?
That might be the hardest thing to do, right? Because the world wants to tell you, man, you're so close to Dave. You almost sound like Kevin when you did that joke. Oh, man, you should do more stuff like this so you can sound like this. And at some point you have to make sure that you step back and remember that everyone's an artist and you're unique, and that's what's going to make you different or stand out. There is already a Dave Chappelle. We don't need another Dave. We need someone new. We need a Preston Taylor, right? We already have a Kevin Hart. We already have a Jim Carrey. And so that's one of the harder things to do, is to stay focused. And to be honest, I'm still not comfortable. You know, I'm 10 years into this, and it's easier every time getting up there, but I didn't really give it the true appreciation until about 5 years in, when a bigger actor that I knew stepped in and said, you know, I could never do comedy. And I said, why? Like, you know, he was like, bro, you have to literally make a blank room laugh. Like, you're just getting on stage with just a microphone, and you need to make a blank group of people that you don't know laugh. Do you know how hard that is? And when you really stop and step back and think about it, it's terrifying every single time. But for me, that's the thrill of it, because I enjoy laughter. And so if I can pull it out of you, that's all the work and effort is worth it.
Yeah, you mentioned Dave Chappelle. One of the things, I'm a big nerd, Preston. My radio audience knows this, so I'm not probably the person who is best. I don't think I've ever been to a comedy club. However, you know, I do definitely appreciate the craft and appreciate what you all do. But I bring up Dave Chappelle because of something that I saw in FarmtoTV, because you're able to make people laugh. And we all need that, especially after this past year that we've gone through. We need something to kind of like. But what you also do in FarmtoTV is you make us think too. And Dave Chappelle is so brilliant at that, and being able to take something that is serious, make us laugh about it, but then also make us think about it. Is that something that you hope continues to be a part of your brand, that you are able to give people that brevity, but also give them something that's thought-provoking too?
Honestly, that is my entire goal, and you kind of hit the nail on the head there. The one thing I always take away as the biggest compliment, and I've heard it a few times over the years, is that exact thing, that they're like, wow, you sound like Dave in this respect. And I was like, to me, he is the master because of that. If I can make you laugh at something so serious, right, and kind of take something that's really not supposed to be talked about, but instead I can talk about it and make you think and laugh, I've done my job. That's it. You know, right. I don't want you to be mad. I don't want you to be upset. I just want you to think a little bit and then go, oh, yeah, you're right, maybe, and then laugh. That's it.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, it took you out of your head, right? Like we're all in our heads. Like you said, this last year has been rough. You came to the show for a reason, and I just finally gave you that, right? You're going to go home now, and on that drive home, you'll be able to have a conversation about that now, and it's a little less hard to have that conversation.
So true. I think that is so true, and I think that's why, you know, entertainers like yourself are needed. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We have the one and only Preston Taylor joining us today. He's an actor and comedian who's been able to do what he loves. He's also celebrating his new film that's also a show, FarmtoTV. We're going to let you guys know how you can stay connected with Preston. So, Preston, let's talk about another part of FarmtoTV, and that is the family aspect. I have, in my life now, we're celebrating 18 years of this show this year. My family,
wow.
I've been very intentional of trying to, because they're not into the public stuff. So when they hear of me doing something or see me on TV or read about me in the paper, they're like, Cyrus, you're doing that? You know, I want to talk about what was that like for you to share that experience with the family, because I think that was probably one of the most powerful parts for me, being able to bring that back to them, to be you on stage, but also to be Preston for them. What was that like?
That was the hardest part of all of this, because I'm like, you know, small country southern Texas kid. I mean, so you can imagine this huge family that I have, but man, you talk about religious folk. You know, and I speak about that in my show, my mama Dorothy, who is, I mean, you're talking about Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, his revival, they revival, don't matter. She's there, right? And so a lot of my family is like that, and they have no clue what Preston is like in Los Angeles and the world that he's in. And when I go home, by the way, all of this gets shut off, and I'm that good little kid that they remember. So to try to have to bond the two, and have this come out and share it with them was an extremely terrifying experience. But really what was eye-opening for me was the first person who was excited was Mama Dorothy. The first person to congratulate me was Mama Dorothy, followed by Mom. It was kind of those people that I was like, they're like, baby, it is entertainment, and we're excited for what you're doing, you know, and for them to have that look, because they could have easily gone the other way. It's, I can't believe you said that on stage, and why would you? I mean, they really could have went that way. But so for me, it was really nice to kind of share in that moment of joy, and for them, you know, they were excited that, hey, we're like literally in the middle of this dream. Like, it finally happened. 10 years later, here it is. So, you know, when it became that response, I mean, hey, I could retire tomorrow. You know, I'm a happy camper now.
Yeah. So 2 things. What was it like for you seeing that cover, to see, for one thing, you with the cow, but to see your name, to see Preston Taylor up there? What was that like for you to see that on the promo for FarmtoTV?
You know, 2 nights before the promo came out, the billboards, there's some billboards here in L.A., 7 billboards went live, and I drove out to see one of them. And I mean, you can't explain it. It's that rush of tingling just all the way through your body. Like, I'm looking out of the sunroof, almost having an Entourage Vinny Chase moment, just looking up at myself. And, you know, that those tears start rolling, because it's like, well, this was the goal. You know, you stepped here in 2008, and you look up years later, and, you know, it's just you. There's no one else. You know, so it's very it's a very unique experience that, you know, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so definitely took it in.
Are you able to watch yourself, Preston? Were you able to watch FarmtoTV?
It's funny you say that, because I said I wasn't going to watch, right? But, you know, you're on the entertainment side of stuff, so, you know, behind the scenes, I've seen this thing 1,000 times now in editing, right? We've just been working on it, and like, you know what the real behind the scenes is like. So when it finally came out, I was like, I mean, do I really want to see this again? But You know what? It was brand new. You know, and I did the show. I know the jokes, but something about watching it on the platform, on the TV for the first time really was something new. And I stopped the show and ran to the store and grabbed some champagne. I was like, you know what, this is kind of cool. I was like, I do need to take this in and celebrate this.
Well, look, it's worth celebrating. Now, I have to say, on a serious note, I mean, you know you're good at what you do and you've made people feel comfortable when you can get grown people to admit in a movie what their favorite porn site is.
I mean, did you not see how fast that they were responding? By the way, this show wasn't performed anywhere else before. Nobody knew that was coming. I asked those questions, and they responded that fast.
I thought to myself, that is not Mississippi. Because the first thing we would do here is look around saying, porn? What makes you think they were? Wait, what?
Right? I mean, like, people don't realize that was one of the more shocking parts of the show.
I could. It was shocking for me how quickly they were answering.
like people thought, like, oh, did y'all edit? I was like, by the way, we didn't edit that. Like, I asked that question. It was almost as if those people were loaded. I was like, wow, this is great. And I was like, just went down the line.
Right. So, I mean, and I think, again, that goes to the gift that you have, right? Because, I mean, imagine a total stranger coming up and saying the things that you set up on that stage and people being okay with it. You know what I mean? And I think that is what is so cool. So, I mean, that is great. People can watch it on Tubi. Of course, we want people to do that. Are you already thinking about the what's next? Probably the most difficult thing for me, Preston, is I'll appreciate something that happens and, yeah, that was great, but you're already thinking ahead, okay, yeah, but the next thing I want to do is this. Did you have that moment to take the breath and to appreciate it before you start thinking ahead to the next thing?
That's a great question because you're correct. No, I didn't. I took about half a breath. I was like, oh, my God, this is so amazing. Great. Can I get on the road now because I'm ready to start doing Farm to Dangerous, right? Because that's how we are, right? We're like, okay, thank God the world is seeing it. That's great. What's next? You know, I started reading for a movie role, like literally 2 days after it came out. I was like, yeah, let's do this. But that's my goal is, seeing how things go this year. If things go well, I hope that by the end of the year we're shooting and filming Farmed and Dangerous, and number 2 will be out for folks next year.
Awesome. So with that being said, I guess we do need to mention that we are at the tail end, hopefully, of a worldwide pandemic. So how much were you served well by this time? And I guess what I mean by that question is, I mean, for one thing, we're spending time at home. We're doing a lot of streaming. Did you feel as though timing really was everything for you when it came to this?
For me, I was fortunate. You know, we were still in the editing process of FarmtoTV when everything hit.
Gotcha.
Honestly, it was kind of like you said. I was getting ready to think about the next thing, and the next thing for me was to get on the road and start working on show number 2. Well, fortunately, if I got to sit around for a year, I've been shadow boxing for a year now. You know, so I've been working this show out for a year. I'm ready to go.
Right. And I love the title. So, I mean, the fact that you're kind of branding, and it kind of goes to, you know, people roll their eyes at me, Preston, when I say I'm just a country boy from Mississippi, and, you know, and if I can do this, you guys can do it no matter where you're living. But I think Farm to TV is a reinforcement of what I've been saying. Is that also what you hope other people realize, that it doesn't matter where you're from, that you can use wherever you are and wherever you're from to get to where you want to go?
That's the goal. You nailed it right there, because so many people feel like, and I hate that we ended up, you know, having to cut that out, but there was a scene where I ended up talking to the high school football team, and that's the exact message I gave them. I was like, I was exactly you guys 20 years ago. My knee was right there playing football in the tiny country town. Now I'm back here filming a show with a film crew behind me, you know, out in L.A. No one thought that was possible. But look, it's right here in front of you, literally. You know, it was like that you can go out, anything is possible. If you want to go to New York and be the head of the next Fortune 500 company, you can, but don't let like you said, that small town mentality or small area mentality hold you back from thinking you can't do something monstrous and big. Go as big as you can dream.
Yeah. It's a great reminder, man, and I really do. I'm glad we had this time. I'm glad that our friends at October Coast introduced me to FarmtoTV and also helped us to set up this conversation. Again, everyone, Preston Taylor has been our guest. We've been talking with him not only about the journey to doing what he loves, but also, of course, how he's able to share that in his new film called FarmtoTV. You guys can see it on Tubi TV. And how else can they stay connected with you, Preston, kind of keep up with the updates on what's to come?
Yes, they can catch me on Instagram, Preston Taylor Comedy. They can also catch me on Twitter at PrestonJTaylor1. And if you're really, 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 really bored, just go back to Tubi and watch FarmtoTV.
There you go. There you go. Man, congratulations to you, Preston. Man, really excited for you. I know a lot of great things are to come, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Hey, thank you so much, Cyrus. I really appreciate it. And look forward to you guys coming out here to the West Coast. Hope to see you soon.
Oh yeah, the definitely. Normally we're out there every month. I have an office in Los Angeles, actually.
But
I haven't been there since March of last year because of COVID.
Of course.
So I've been literally sheltering in place in the great state of Mississippi for the past year. So it is hopefully by this summer, everything will be rocking. Get to traveling the way I used to. But man, really excited about it, man, and definitely, man, keep up the great work.
Hey, thank you very much.
Okay, more than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.